For more on Mandela Day festivities, we are now joined by CEO of the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund, Dr. Linda Ncube-Nkomo, and she joins us now via our video link. Dr. Linda, thank you so much for your time this evening. Just like the Eastern Cape, you already kicked off your celebrations for Mandela Day with a fun walk for vulnerable children. Tell us more about it.
Good evening, Buddy, and thank you for having us on this evening slot to talk about our activities. So what we had yesterday, our 13th of July, was the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund Walk. It is part of what we call the Children's Celebration, which Utata used to have in the week leading to his birthday. So we marked it yesterday with a walk that started from the Nelson Mandela Children's Hospital, which is the biggest project of the Nelson Mandela's Children's Fund. And we walked all the way to the zoo with a group of probably close to 400 children, who then spent the day just having fun, being children in a place where they could be safe, where they could laugh, make new friends, and just exhale.
Let's talk about the theme that you have selected for this fun walk, and of course calling on for children to be protected. What prompted you to select this specific theme for this year's festivities?
Well, you know, when it comes to the children's celebration, my colleagues at the office who look after events are the ones who engage, within the organization to decide what theme would work best. And children love to be active. So we thought sports stars would be the theme that could resonate with him. And they each kind of pretend to be a sports star. And so they were running, some of them were singing, some of them were dancing. Whatever a sports star meant to them is what they did once we got to the zoo and started with the festivities yesterday.
And talking about, children to be protected this year, that also seems to be, the spotlight, especially when we look at previous events in our country where children have often been the target of various crimes. Maybe just tell us more about, when it comes to looking at the protection of children, how important is that to the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund?
Well, the protection of children is really part of our day-to-day work. So our vision as the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund is to change the way society treats its children and its youth. And when it comes to the safety and protection of children, if we were to grade ourselves as a country that's 30 years into democracy, how well we've done where child safety is concerned, we're doing really, really poorly. And it needs more than just a day for us to be talking about child protection. It needs us to be always constantly aware as people who look after children of the fact that children have rights. And South Africa cannot be a country that says we uphold human rights and totally fail the rights of children. And children, one of the fundamental rights that they have is a right to be safe. And that right is a responsibility of the adults who are around the children to make sure that they're safe.
Let's talk about what else the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund will be doing during the course of this week. Of course, as we mark Mandela Day, perhaps just give us a bit of insight in terms of what you are expecting that will be highlighted by the Children's Fund.
So definitely the child safety and protection, which is really violence against children, and calling on every single person that has got children within their care to take on that responsibility and not wait for NGOs to come and say children are not safe in this community, children are not safe in this space, but for everybody to take on themselves the responsibility of ensuring that children are safe in the places where they live, where they learn, and where they play. And one of the other things that we're going to be highlighting this week as the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund is the need for resources for us to do the work that we do. We cannot do it without resources. So we are encouraging everybody to go onto our website and our social media platforms to make a donation to the Children's Fund so that we can carry on the work that we do. It needs all of us to link arms, and 67 Rand can make a difference in the life of children. So in addition to 67 minutes, if you can make a donation of 67 Rand this Mandela month, it would be extremely welcome and help us to do the work that we're doing with children.
And as we gear up to Mandela Day, what would be your advice to South Africans as many of us will be marking Mandela Day on the 18th?
That children are the greatest assets that we have as a nation. They're the greatest asset we have as a world. And if we want to get the return of investing in an asset, we need to be investing in our children. We cannot create another generation of children that are traumatized, and then 30 years from now, we're still calling for GBVF funds because we have failed to nurture our children differently. So the challenge to us is, what are you doing to nurture the children around you differently?
Dr. Linda, thank you so much for your time this evening here in SABC News. That's Dr. Linda Ncube-Nkomo. She is the CEO of the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund. Of course, we do know that Nelson Mandela Day will be celebrated on Tata Madiba's birthday on the 18th of July. And of course, most of us are being called on to do acts of service for 67 minutes.